There have been a lot of mermaid encounters out there, and people have had some terrifying experiences. Sauce90 is a TikToker who just so happens to work on these giant boats in the ocean. Now, he's had a lot of terrifying encounters with some sort of creatures out there, and many think these creatures are mermaids or sirens. Now, he recorded a video with two creatures swimming on either side of the huge ship. Now, they were moving very quickly, keeping up the pace, which is honestly insane. He knew that they weren't dolphins or anything and asked people for help in identifying them, and a lot of people speculated, hey, these could be mermaids. Then there was another video he made with these same two swimming creatures, and they were making the strangest noises ever. Now, this made people think that they were sirens, as sirens are said to sing songs to hypnotize sailors and make them go into the water. Now, the noises are truly unsettling, and in one clip you can hear one of them say, "Jump for me." I would go back inside the boat and never come out again, because again, that is just terrifying and freaky and makes me think that they're evil. Then there was the mermaid story from Tony Woods. Tony is a comedian, but I can promise you he wasn't joking about any of this. Now, when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, he explained that he had seen a mermaid, or what he calls a merman, in real life in Seychelles, Africa. He was with a little French boy, and people in the community said don't swim in the lagoon after dark. He then said that there was a lot of people at the bar and that he and the boy raced down to the lagoon, which they were warned about, but they didn't listen. While down there, they saw something swimming fast and it then jumped out of the water. He said it was at least 10 to 12 feet long and made eye contact with him. Now, obviously, the pair got scared and went back to the bar where everyone was, but no one believed them. The boy's mother apologized, saying he had an overactive imagination, but Tony swears that he saw this creature too. He said it wasn't a mermaid, but a merman, that it had dark skin and was half human, half fish. His head was humanoid, eyes were so big. Now, Tony says he's not the only one to have seen something like that in the area, which makes him believe what he saw was even more real. And I mean, the way that he tells this story, the body language, the inflection, it just feels so real to me. And we do know that there have been multiple sightings in Africa of mermaids, and all I can say is at least Tony had a witness with him when he saw what he saw, but wow, what a crazy story. And then a user on Reddit told this story that is absolutely terrifying. They said that they saw a mermaid once in 2004 when they were in Jamaica. They were at a bridge called Flatbridge, which is known for its mermaid sightings. Now, they decided to go close to the water, and as they got closer, they saw a woman resting beside a rock. They described her as having her hair being red and her skin very dark. Now, as they got closer, they realized that she was a fishy type of woman with dark eyes. Now, this obviously scared the user, and they said they almost passed out from fear. They then screamed mermaid over and over and over again, and the creature became scared and swam away really fast. Now, the user thought that they were going crazy, but spoke to the locals, who told them that mermaids do exist and that it's normal in Jamaica. They then said not to get too close or the mermaids could take you underwater, and yeah, I think I'd have the same reaction as this person, because that is terrifying. Mermaids are real. Don't believe me? Well, what about this recent sighting in Australia? I mean, a mermaid literally washed up on a beach there. In July 2023, photos of a creature resembling a mermaid alien washed ashore on an Australian beach. Now, the image came to light via a post in the Marine Biology Facebook group, and it was exactly like a mermaid shape, said uploader Bobby Lee Oates, 34, of the skeletal remains, which she stumbled across while walking along the beach in Couple Sands, Queensland. We were driving along the beach looking for a campsite, and we couldn't help but notice how much the skull looked to be in the shape of a human, she recalled. So we instantly stopped from the confusion as to what the hell this could be, and why does this look like a human skull? Now, Bobby Lee, who estimated that the creature was 6 feet long, described it by saying it had a human-shaped skull with an elongated jawline, and hair similar to the color of a cow or kangaroo, but with hair missing in many places due to decomposition. She continued by saying it was exactly like a mermaid shape, but hairy, because it seemed to have a tail or limb of some sort. Now, she posted the image to try to figure out what the creature was, but never got a definitive answer. So could this be some sort of mermaid? I think so. Then there were the soldiers who saw a type of mermaid. During World War II, Japanese soldiers were stationed in the Key Islands in Indonesia and had some weird encounters with what they said were mermaids. Now, the local villagers were familiar with these creatures and called them orang-ikan, which translates to manfish. Now, these creatures were described as being around 150 centimeters tall, having spikes on the spine, shoulder, and neck. They were said to have pink salmon-colored skin and a mouth that resembled a carp. Now, rather than having a fishtail, these creatures had long arms and frog-like legs, both of which had talons at the end. Now, the Japanese soldiers recorded many different sightings, saying they even saw one on land, but they mostly seemed at home in the water. For one instance, a troop of soldiers claimed to see one of these creatures jump out of the water onto a nearby rock. Now, it turned and faced the soldiers and let out a gurgling, burping noise that didn't seem to be too friendly. Then they saw another creature moving smoothly in the water towards them as fast as any fish would. Now, not knowing the intention of the creatures, the soldiers started shooting at the rocks and into the water, only to have the creatures disappear from view. Now, a sergeant named Mr. Taro spoke to the villagers and requested if any of the orang-ikan were captured, dead or alive, to contact him immediately. It was soon after that the chief summoned the general and, to his astonishment, saw with his own eyes the lifeless aquatic creature. Now, he described what he saw as roughly 4 foot 9 inches tall, pinkish skin, human-looking face and limbs, spikes along its head, and a mouth like a carp. Now, this just sounds like something out of a horror movie. Absolutely terrifying. Now, fishermen don't get scared too easily, as they see a lot of scary things being out in the middle of the ocean, but I doubt any of them ever thought that they would come face to face with a mermaid. Yep, you heard that right. Some fishermen accidentally caught a mermaid. In an alarming video, it appears that some fishermen caught a mermaid in a net, and they were so shocked that they accidentally dropped it back into the water. A clearly humanoid arm with a webbed hand reached back at them from the net, as if trying to grab the men. Now, the men lean back to avoid it, and the net slips and falls back into the ocean, with the mermaid escaping and them being left with questions. Now, is this legit? I think so. A user commented this on the video, and I agree. They said this video is amazing, almost a real proof about the existence of mermaids. Notice that the camera is unsteady, and it means that the situation took them by surprise. The creature trapped in the net is powerful and so desperate to get rid of it, and its aspect cannot correspond to a human being or any other animal. Now, it's understandable that the fishermen got in a panic and let it go back into the sea, but that was just so creepy. And finally, we have another story about an Australian mermaid, except this one is alive and well. A short clip was posted online of what could be a mermaid swimming among a reef. In 2007, a diver off the coast of Australia claimed to have encountered a real-life mermaid. In the footage, we see a diver filming a school of tropical fish in an unknown reef, and in the distance we see a humanoid figure swim towards the camera. Now, it appears to be half human, half fish, with a long scale-covered tail. The enormous fins appear to propel the creature effortlessly through the water. When the clip was uploaded to the internet, it caused a speculative frenzy, as some herald the footage as strong evidence of mermaids. Now, analysts have noticed that the creature swims easily through the water without the use of its arms, and instead it uses its long fin tail to glide forwards. Now, could this diver have actually captured a real mermaid swimming in the sea? I think so.
Always cool seeing what washes up on shore at the beach, isn't it? Unless, of course, it looks like this. This is a pretty horrifying image, real or not, and I gotta say it does look pretty realistic. You'll notice the creature's jaw even moves slightly like it's breathing or attempting to breathe. Whatever it is, it doesn't look like it's doing very well health-wise. I think there are a lot of people who kinda wish mermaids and mermen were real. You know, beautiful people gliding through the water, singing pretty songs at night, luring sailors down into the dark, brackish depths of the sea, never to be seen again. I would not be getting lured anywhere by this ugly monstrosity, though. So this is a very strange video. Supposedly it comes out of Kenya, but I've heard it coming from other parts of Africa too, so I'm not 100% certain. In the video we clearly see what looks to be a young mermaid-like being washed up on a beach surrounded by onlookers. It's clear that the supposed mermaid is actually on camera. I mean, this is a real person. The question is whether they're a real mermaid or just a person with a fish attached to their lower half. And yeah, that's almost definitely the case, but what creeps me out point about this video is why it exists. I just have so many questions about this thing. There's just something very uncomfortable about this footage. Why was this created? Who is the person they've attached to this fish? Are they okay? And just what the hell is the music the uploader has added to the footage? It doesn't fit at all, and it just makes the whole thing even more strange and unsettling. During World War II, strange sightings were reported in the key islands of Indonesia, where Japanese soldiers stationed there encountered what they described as mermaids, or mermaid-like creatures. Local villagers familiar with these creatures called them orang ikan, or manfish, and they were said to stand at just under 5 feet tall, with pink salmon-colored skin, spikes along their spine and neck, and a mouth resembling that of a carp. Instead of a fishtail, they had long arms and frog-like legs, both ending in talons. So they're basically the creature from the Black Lagoon. The soldiers claimed to have spotted the creatures both in and out of the water. One story came from a troop exploring a lagoon who saw one of the things leap onto a rock, facing the soldiers and making a gurgling, burping noise. As another creature swam swiftly towards them, the soldiers fired shots at the rocks and water, but the creatures vanished before their eyes. Later, Sergeant Tero Horiba asked villagers to notify him if one of the creatures was ever captured. Eventually, the village chief presented a lifeless specimen to him. Creature about 4'9" tall, apparently matched the description perfectly. These photos are pretty famous in the world of deep-sea cryptids. They were taken by a man named Jeff Leitcher in 1998. He was a diver who claimed to have captured the first documented proof that mermaids exist. It all happened about 20 minutes off the coast of Kauai when Leitcher was diving with a group. While swimming with a pod of dolphins, he noticed what appeared to be a woman swimming alongside them. What caught his attention was that she was keeping up with the dolphins. Then the woman suddenly leapt out of the water, and Leitcher realized she had the lower half of a fish. The woman jumped twice before disappearing in the water, leaving the group completely stunned. Then, about an hour later, while Leitcher was photographing some underwater life, the same mermaid-like creature supposedly brushed up against him as she swam by. He quickly snapped a few pictures just as she turned around. I feel very lucky that I'm the one to finally prove to the world what people here have known for half a century. The Kauai Point mermaid is real, Leitcher said. In 2009, something strange started happening near Kiryat Yam, Israel. Dozens of locals claimed to see a mermaid off the shore at sunset. Over time, more and more people reported spotting the creature, describing it as resembling a young woman who would frequently visit the beach and perform tricks in the water. As the sightings gained more and more attention, the Israeli government even got involved, and they offered a $1 million reward for anyone who could provide proof of the mermaid's existence. No need to capture it, just an authentic photo would do. NBC sent a film crew to investigate. They stationed themselves at Kiryat Yam Beach, both above and below the water, filming around the clock. And one night they claimed to have spotted a human figure dipping into the water before disappearing. The research crew did their best to track the mermaid down, but they couldn't pinpoint its exact location. The footage was sent to Coastal Oceans Research in Los Angeles for further analysis. Michael Schacht, the center's director, reviewed the footage and said although it was impossible to unequivocally determine the figure in the footage, it still remains a viable option. In other words, it could be the real deal, but it's not definitively proven. In 2012, Zimbabwe found itself caught up in a very strange case involving mermaids that had workers fleeing from their dam sites in the country. Water Resources Minister Sam Sipepa Nkomo addressed the issue during a Senate committee meeting, revealing that mermaids had been scaring away government workers at dam sites, or that's what workers had been saying. According to Nkomo, the workers were so terrified by these supposed creatures that they abandoned their posts, refusing to return. Nkomo shared that traditional chiefs had been called in to, quote, perform rituals to exorcise the mermaids believed to inhabit reservoirs. The mermaids, often described as female creatures with fishtails, were said to frighten the workers by allegedly pulling people under the water. In response to the workers' fears, Nkomo had even attempted to hire WWII personnel, assuming that they wouldn't be familiar with the mermaid legends, but they too then started reporting strange sightings and would refuse to work on the project. Now, there was skepticism from some, obviously, including Minister Nkomo, who thought that maybe the strange cases could have been caused by hazardous water currents, but the government decided to carry out the traditional rites to calm the fears of the local workers anyway. This footage comes from Marginal Media on YouTube, who explained that he'd captured the footage while diving in the Great Barrier Reef. He'd been testing out an underwater camera when he spotted the creature, only he didn't realize what he'd filmed until later when reviewing the footage on his laptop. At the time, he'd been too busy futzing with the camera, but felt something coming from behind him. He managed to shoot it, but at the time, while underwater with, low visibility like this, he figured what he'd seen was just a normal fish. Now, he was adamant that what he'd filmed was not from a movie or anything like that, and that he hadn't filmed it in a controlled environment like a swimming pool. He says it's 100% genuine, so believe him or not. In 1809, a woman named Miss McKay from the town of Thurso in Scotland claimed to have witnessed a real mermaid while walking along the beach. According to her account, in the Kentish Gazette newspaper, she had an up-close view of the creature and described it in great detail, saying, "The face seemed plump and round, the eyes and nose were small, and the former were of light grey color, and the mouth was large, and from the shape of the jawbone, which seemed straight, the face looked short." She also said that the mermaid's forehead, nose, and chin were white, but the side of the face was a bright pink. The mermaid's hair, which Miss McKay described as thick and long, with a quote, grey, oily cast, appeared to be a challenge for the creature as the waves often threw it over its face. She said the creature seemed bothered by this, frequently using both its hands to push the hair back and rub its throat, almost as if trying to remove any dirt from the water. On June 4th, 1857, two Scottish sailors, John Williamson and John Cameron, reported spotting a strange creature off the coast of Britain. While at sea, they saw a creature in the water that they described as resembling a woman. According to their account, "We distinctly saw an object about 6 yards distant from us in the shape of a woman, with full breast, dark complexion, comely face, and fine hair hanging in ringlets over the neck and shoulders." It sounds like these guys were out of the water a little too long with nothing but each other. Anyway, they described the creature as being submerged up to its middle, with its head above the water, gazing at them and even shaking its head. Going on to write, "The weather being fine, we had a full view of it, and that for 3 or 4 minutes. And finally, in 1967, near Main Islands in British Columbia, something strange happened. A ferry filled with tourists spotted a blonde-haired mermaid-like creature sitting on the beach, eating a fish. One witness even described her as attractive with dimples. To top it off, a photo was taken showing a woman with blonde hair and the lower half of a porpoise. Later that week, another mermaid sighting apparently occurred, but by then, skepticism was growing and a lot of people understandably started dismissing the sightings as hoaxes. Charles White, owner of the Undersea Gardens, a ship doubling as an underwater aquarium, offered a $25,000 reward for the mermaid's capture. He even promised room and board plus special combs for the mermaid's comfort, so quite an odd offer, but he was desperate to prove that she was real. Unfortunately, after a few weeks, the story lost steam and the mermaid sightings faded into local legend.
First up, we have the Australia sighting. A video that was uploaded in 2010 has recently resurfaced that was taken at the Great Barrier Reef. The footage shows a mysterious creature, a mermaid, swimming in the distance. Now the video has more than 2.7 million views, and there's another video as well from the same person which has more than 4 million views. The narrator of the video explains how he went to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia to test an underwater cage that he had recently bought. 2 films were recorded, explains the narrator. He said he was testing out his camera and how to operate it, and he felt something behind him. He added that he only spotted the mermaid after he watched the footage on the computer. He never saw her in real life. Now he claims that the video is real, not edited, not faked. Some people are claiming it's just a human in a costume, but I don't know. It looks pretty real to me. Up next, we have the Canada sighting. In June 1967, a mermaid was spotted on Main Island. She was seen in the early evening by passengers on ferries close to the west entrance to Active Pass. The Daily colonists reported the sightings and included a photograph. Several witnesses said the mermaid had a large fish, apparently coho salmon, and one swore she had taken a bite out of it, the colonists said on June 13th, 1967. Long silver blonde hair and topless condition were generally agreed upon. Now the next day the colonists referred to her as the dimpled mermaid and said that she had the lower body of a fish or porpoise. The newspaper said she had been at Helen Point and had been seen eating a large salmon. A Cobble Hill man who flew over the area shortly after 7 p.m. managed to get an aerial photograph which reportedly corresponded closely to another photo taken. Then on June 15th, the newspaper reported that a $25,000 reward would be offered for the dimpled mermaid of active past. The offer was made by Charles White of the Undersea Gardens, who added that a panel of competent marine biologists would have to confirm that the mermaid was the real thing. He also promised to negotiate a contract with the mermaid. I think we could come to terms. We would offer a substantial salary, room and board, and a supply of those special combs that mermaids use, he said. Now unfortunately no mermaid came forward and the story kind of just disappeared. Moving on to the Jamaica sighting. Jamaica seems to be a hotspot for mermaid sightings. I mean, there are hundreds of them. From YouTube to TikTok to Reddit, people have been sharing their stories. Now this particular video was taken at Flatbridge, where there have always been rumors of sightings. Now in the video you can hear people saying it's a mermaid. Watch, a mermaid, Jesus. Oh, she's gone, a woman says. Now Daniel Gale, who has been diving and fishing in the area for the last 10 years, says the river has a season when the mermaid wants blood, and that's when a series of accidents usually occur. Whenever the river changes its color and gets dirty like now, that's when it's dangerous, and that's usually when the mermaid is active, Daniel told the Star. It's said that the only thing that will quiet the mermaid is blood, so as soon as it's satisfied, all accidents will cease. Now it seems like this mermaid is no Little Mermaid type and is more evil than people thought. Now we have caught in a net. Fishermen are pretty brave. They sail in stormy weather, they've seen all different types of animals, nothing can really scare them. Well, that is unless they stumble upon a mermaid. In a viral video, it appears that some fishermen caught a mermaid in a net. Now they didn't need to do this, they were just trying to see what fish they caught, and boom, a clearly humanoid arm with a webbed hand reached back at them from the net as if it was trying to grab the men. Now the men leaned back to avoid it, and unfortunately the net slipped and fell back into the ocean. They then scrambled to lean over the side of the ship to see if they could catch another glimpse of the creature, but they couldn't, and whatever they saw got away, never to be seen again. Now let's talk about the Spain sightings. While it's rare to even see a mermaid, spotting a mermaid in the same place twice is even more rare. But it seems like Spain is the place for this to happen. Travelers on a cruise noticed a figure sitting on a distant rock deep within the ocean. Upon closer observation, it became clear that this figure was a mermaid, sunbathing and relaxing. They recorded the video in Malacca, Spain. Then this other video was taken by two friends who were surfing together. They were just recording each other and having fun, but it seems like they actually caught a mermaid on film too. You can see its tail coming out of the water and going back in. Now as they both spot the creature in the water, you can tell that they're scared and they decide to leave, which was probably the best option because they would not want to get dragged underwater by that thing. Now the most recent sighting is the 2023 sighting. In this extremely viral TikTok clip, seafarer who goes by the username @sauce.90 on social media, his real name being Ryan Coleman, filmed two mysterious figures swimming by his boat as it traveled through the choppy waves. Now as he records, his voice can be heard saying, "What are those? What's going on?" Pointing the camera at the sea, he notes, "Something swimming fast underneath the water, something swimming real fast." Now everyone in the comments believes it's mermaids that are keeping up with his ship. Now a strange wailing can be heard in the background as he asks the camera, "What the F is that noise, bro? What is that noise?" Then as he continues to remark that he can hear the strange intruders, a shrieking voice announces, "Jump for me." Now just hearing it creeps me out. Just listen. Now how he was able to stay calm after hearing that is beyond me. Now onto the Israel sighting. In 2009, dozens of locals near Kiryat Yam, Israel claimed to see a mermaid off the shore at sunset. Now these sightings went on for some time before the local media got involved. The onlookers said the creature resembled a young girl and would often visit the beach and do tricks in the water. Eventually, the Israeli government noticed all the attention and issued a $1 million reward for anyone who could provide proof of the mermaid. Now this didn't include capturing, it simply required an authentic photo. Now no one ever came forward, but in 2013, the most compelling piece of evidence to date was a video shot by two tourists. Now the pair thought they had spotted a seal on a rock just off the coast, but as the camera zoomed in, it became clear it wasn't a seal. It was a mermaid. Now despite the evidence looking real, the prize money has not yet been handed out, but hey, that footage looks real to me. Give those people their money, it's only fair. Let's discuss the Zimbabwe sighting. Mermaids don't really like being around humans, and I can't say that I blame them. Now this was made extremely clear in the case of the Zimbabwe dam workers in 2012, who were trying to install a water pump which was crucial to the local agriculture. Now local divers and workers were hired to see what was blocking the pump, and when they surfaced, they vowed to never return. Why? Because there was a mermaid there. Sam Sipia Nkoma, a water resource minister, told the Senate committee that the village chiefs could perform an ancient ritual to get rid of the mermaid and calm the workers' anxiety, but they still refused to return after the ritual was performed. Now being skeptical of the workers' reasons for quitting, the government hired outside help as they thought this belief was cultural, but the new workers reported the same thing and refused to finish the repairs. Now to this day, the dam is still not finished. And hey, I wouldn't mess with a mermaid either. I think it's best that they left it alone. Next up, we have the Hawaii sighting. The island of Hawaii has plenty of folklore and legends around beautiful aquatic creatures, and the mermaid is one of them. For more than 50 years, people have reported seeing a mermaid off the coast of Hawaii's Big Island. But the sightings were never taken seriously until a dive boat captain finally captured the half-woman, half-fish on camera. Dive master Jeff Liker photographed the creature known as the Kauai Point Mermaid on April 12, 1998, as he and 6 other divers were exploring the ocean bottom about 20 minutes off Hawaii's sunny Kona coast. As Jeff was photographing some underwater life, a mermaid brushed up against him while swimming and turned back around just in time for him to snap a few pictures. He said, "I feel very lucky that I'm the one to finally prove to the world what people here have known for half a century. The Kauai Point Mermaid is real." Now, this wasn't the only time he spotted the mermaid, as just a few hours before, he saw what looked like a nude woman swimming with a pod of dolphins. The woman was able to keep up the pace with the dolphins, which Jeff thought was odd. All of a sudden, she jumped into the air and he realized that she had the lower half of a fish. Now 10 people on a boat witnessed this incident, but the mermaid disappeared after just 2 jumps out of the water. And lastly, we have the Minnesota sighting. A mysterious video claims to show the moment a mermaid was pulled from the water, prompting claims the mythical creatures do exist. The clip shows a green tail floating in the water and a figure being put onto a stretcher. The video was taken by an Australian tourist on a beach in Minnesota, but the precise location is unknown. According to Paranormal Elite, a YouTube channel which was sent the footage, the person who filmed it stayed behind after the beach was cleared. The man, identified only as Mackie, said large vehicles arrived with some people wearing yellow hazmat suits to protect them from dangerous materials. A Paranormal Elite spokesman said, "The creature seen bears striking resemblance to the mermaids depicted in fictional stories. It remains a mystery whether or not mermaids do inhabit lakes in Minnesota. After all, what happens when the lake freezes in the winter?" The enthusiast continued, "I urge everyone to keep an open mind and come to a conclusion yourself. If this is in fact fake, the question arises as to why anyone would go to such lengths to hoax a video like this. Now, I honestly don't know if this is real or not, it truly just stumps me."